got out to a quick start, recording 7 marks in the first game for a 149 and a big early lead. For Tom Morgan, it was one of those days. A quick flurry in Game 2 kept him within striking distance, but in the end, it would be Gosselin's second straight win as he tries to do the near impossible and win 5 straight matches. Today, he'll face the man with the top winning percentage in the history of our show, Peter Flynn. This is Candlepin Stars and Strikes, Week 3 of the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions.
WNDS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Oh, look at this. Look at that. He got it. He's ready to go for a spare.
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is sponsored in part by Somerville Lumber and by Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan.
Looks good. This is good to go.
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Week 3 of the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. Here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes, I'm Doug Brown, along with Dan Murphy. We're so happy you could join us here at Park Place Lanes. Once again, a fine crowd on hand, and they're here to see if Neil Gosselin can win 3 in a row or whether Peter Flynn will take over.
So far, it's been a Neil Gosselin show, and sending his way this week one of the premier Candlepin bowlers, and Peter Flynn.
In fact, Peter's going to be with us for both hours today because he's already won 2 matches with his partner Chuck Godzik over in the doubles tournament.
Yeah, that's right. You get used to seeing Peter, and a great Candlepin bowler he is, and Neil hasn't been a slouch over the last couple of weeks either.
All right, the official introductions then. First of all, our number 6 seed. He's won the last 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks here on the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions from Lynn, Massachusetts, Neil Gosselin.
Okay, Neil comes in averaging 125, has a high single of 210, high triple of 459, and that makes it about 6 matches in a row he's won with us.
Exactly, and he rolled a 416 2 weeks ago to beat Bob Mazur in the first week of the tournament, and then last week he threw a 377 to knock off Tom Morgan. So today he goes for number 3 in a row, and he will face one of the best there is, the left-hander from Bradford, Massachusetts, Peter Flynn.
Okay, Peter comes in averaging 134, high single 211, high triple 482.
And, of course, you'll get accustomed to seeing Peter during the next 2 hours because he'll be here with us and then again with his partner Chuck Godzik as they look for their 3rd win in a row in the doubles tournament of champions. We have some money, perhaps, to give away later on in the program as we go to $40 in a bonus ball contest. We hope we have your postcards in. And, of course, the bowling as well. The runner-up today gets $300. The winner moves on into the semifinals next week. So we're getting down to the final few weeks of the season as it gets more exciting every week here on Stars and Strikes. We're going to be back with this match, Neil Gosselin and Peter Flynn, right after these words. Don't go away. All right, here's a look at the field once again in the 1993 Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions, brought to you by Tri-State Megabucks and, of course, all of our other fine sponsors. And we have Neil Gosselin with 2 wins in a row, facing Peter Flynn, our number 3 seed. The winner of this match will advance to move into the semifinals against Rico Baldinelli next week. And 2 weeks from today, our championship match of the season, the last show of the season as well, as Paul Berger will be in trying to defend that number 1 spot against the survivor of these next 2 matches. Neil Gosselin set to toe the line in this first of 3 games. Neil with the wins over Bob Mazur and Tom Morgan. Trying to make it 3 in a row. Almost. Well, the secret to Neil's success the last 2 weeks, Dan, no question about it, has been his ability to get off to a good start. 2 weeks ago, he had a 151 opening game. Last week, a 149. And for the first time in 3 weeks, Neil does not open with a mark. Neil studied it, and with the wood, almost. threw it over there.
Certainly did. Come flying across and settle right in front of the 610. So he'll have 2 open frames.
And 19. Let's see what happened on that. Watch the wood. Right in the back, and then one of the other pieces off the sidewall. Most of you recognize this man. Peter Flynn. Well, the ball's still on the plate. Let's see.
And if it hits and knocks the pin down, it's perfectly legal.
I don't know as we've ever seen that, a ball kind of rolling aimlessly on the plate hit something.
Right through the middle. 2, 4, 5, 7. Also the 610 on the right. There they go. Beautifully done by Peter Flynn, splitting the 2 and the 4 and everything moving from left to right. First mark of the match.
Oh, that 4-pin wants to go over. Neil has had a lot of adventures with the 4-pin in the last couple of weeks.
Spun it in around on the spot. Watch the double wood out in front, too. Oh.
Got it. He had to power through that to take it out for the spare. First mark for Neil. Just 5 on the fill.
The 247 piece of wood behind the 2-pin might give him some help on the 610. Oh boy, got the 610 and missed the 7. Short pin.
That'll be a 9. And 43 through 4. So Peter Flynn now stepping up, working on a mark.
Two 4 left, 8 fell on the spare. Ooh, would cost him.
And the 10. The early 4-pin lead for Peter Flynn. With his 2 wins already in the doubles tournament of champions, Peter Flynn's overall record now here on Stars and Strikes is 17-4. Almost. And the 10. So the lead goes to 5. Make it 4, pardon me.
You know, a little stumble at the line there. 4 horsemen left, plus the 10 pin.
No, everything but the 7 pin.
Got a good hand from the crowd off to the left of the lanes because they couldn't quite see the 7-pin. They thought he had made the shot.
Great effort by Neil, but it's a 10 box. And again, Neil comes 1 pin short of converting. And a 9. Each bowler with 1 mark. Saw that 403 that got Peter into the number 3 spot for this Tournament of Champions. He had to win 3 matches to get here. Back in October and November, threw a 384 to beat Brian Uphold, then a 359 to hold off Bruno DeFeo. He beat Bruno DeFeo by just 2 pins in that match. Bruno came up needing a mark to win it in the final 2 and was unable to convert. And then Peter went on to the series championship match and threw a 403 to beat Peter Pereira and get here. For the spare, no. Both bowlers have seen some tough shots so far. And only 3 pins, the difference right now. The runner-up finishes 4th in the Tournament of Champions and takes home $300. The winner moves into the semifinals next week against our number 2 seed, Rico Baldinelli. Well, this leave would be virtually impossible, but that wood is kind of interesting.
I'd try it. I'm going to try to cut off the wall with a 3.
For Neil. Tri-State Megabucks, as always, the presenting sponsor on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. And these 5 weeks, the showcase event for Tri-State Megabucks, the Tournament of Champions, this being the 5th annual singles tournament. Of course, right in the middle of our 2nd annual doubles tournament as well. All from the folks at Tri-State Megabucks. Just imagine being rich. Give it a try. Neil Gosselin gets the spare on the 2-7, his 2nd mark. And the strike for Peter Flynn.
Looks like he just caved in the 5 and the 4, the last 2 pins, right there. His first strike of the match. He's going to play the single, which is the 3-pin, and try to jump it into the 4 and the 7.
Once he's got that wood hitched against there, which...
If he goes to the left of that pin, he might snap that off the wall.
Neat fill on the strike. And the 10. Peter and his doubles partner, Chuck Godzik. Next hour, will go for their 3rd win in a row against Bill Hart and Mark Arnold. Neil Gosselin filling a spare with 9, leaving the 6-pin. And the spare, 2 in a row. 3 in the match for Neil. Just drifted a little bit to the left, missing the head pin.
And 6 on the spare. 1, 3, 6, 10 left.
Oh, had a shot. How many times do you see that?
Very difficult shot, the 4 horsemen. If you go light, you don't seem to carry all the pins. And that time he was buried in the 1-3 pocket, left the 10 pin. Works it out for a 10 and a 117.
This is Peter Flynn's second appearance in the singles Tournament of Champions. He'll remember the first time he was here. That was back in the 1991 event when he was seeded 6th, came in and rolled a 426 and lost to Tim Lipke's 467. .467, the Tournament of Champions record for high triple, held by Tim Lipke. The second highest triple, Mike Morgan, 455 last year. Peter Flynn holds the record, Tournament of Champions record, for the most strikes in a match. He had 9 strikes in that match where he threw the 426. Imagine that, throwing 9 strikes and 3 strings and losing.
Amazing, amazing stat. Everything you want to know, you've got it. Ooh, 26 for Peter and only a 108.
So for the 3rd week in a row, Neil Gosselin has the lead after 1. It's not the sizable lead he's had the last 2 weeks. He's up by 9 over Peter Flynn with 2 games to go. We'll be right back. Peter Flynn kicking off game 2. Peter lives in Bradford, Mass. His wife Debbie, who's here cheering him on today. They have 2 sons, 10-year-old Sean and 7-year-old Craig. Peter does a lot of his bowling at the Pilgrim Lanes in Haverhill. Well, a 6-box to end game 1 and then a 7 to start this one. Back on the head pin though, and there's the break.
Looked like the 2, 4, and 6 at first. The 2 and the 4 fall and leaves in the 6 pin with a piece of wood right in the front. And no problem.
Third mark for Peter Flynn, 3 for each bowler now. Neil just off to the left of the head pin. Neil from Lynn, Mass. Has 3 children, Brandy, Neil Jr., and Sherry. Oh, nice shot for the spare.
Great shot for a spare. Played it to the left of the head pin, and the domino effect on the 4 horsemen to the right, and the ball continued for the 7.
Neil does most of his bowling these days at the Lucky Strike Lanes in Lynn and also at the Beverly Bowlamat. He's a student at Northern Essex Community College. 6 fill on the spare. 1, 2, 4, and 8 for the spare. Difficult shot. He made it look easy. Another look.
You see, 2 in a row.
Peter was hoping to get a big fill there, and he missed the head pin. 6 fill on the spare. And he converts the 4 horsemen. Took a while, but he got it.
Keeps the 2 pin in play here. hits for the sidewall, trips out the 4, and does also the damage on the 7.
On the head pin that time, but again, it's a 6 fill. He had a better leave when he didn't hit the head pin.
You might better use the wood and move everything from right to left. See what happens.
Oh, it was a great effort. That was a great effort. You'll see Peter Flynn make a lot of terrific shots in the course of an average match, and that was a dandy.
That's what makes him so great, is that he'll get all the legitimate spares, and then he'll pick up some of these fantastic ones, and that's why he's one of the best in the game.
Oh, Neil Gosselin right back with a solid 9-pin drop. That was on a spare, and he'll shoot at the 5-pin.
This is where Neil seems to rise to the occasion. When somebody puts a string of marks up, he seems to come back with some of his own.
Yes, 3 in a row to start this second game. Things heating up all of a sudden here.
Well, like somebody leaves a wake-up call for Neil, and he gets right up. Just touching the head pin. Let's see. It's a 7 drop. 4, 7, and 9. 3 pieces of wood still on the deck. Going to go after the 4 and 9, 4 and 7, and the wood, and not quite enough for the 9.
I thought maybe he'd try the piece sticking out of the channel.
Well, you know, he actually slipped a little bit, so he may have wanted a piece of that as well. But
instead, it's a 10 box, but 3 marks in a row for each bowler so far here in Game 2. Neil Gosselin in the lead. We'll be back to continue here on Stars and Strikes. Peter Flynn working on a spare. Phil will cut into that 22-pin deficit, and he'll take 6. His 3rd straight 6 fill, and they've all been different.
2, 4, 7, and the 10 pin.
He's made 2 difficult ones already. Let's see if he can make this one. Oh, my! Oh, my!
It's the Peter Flynn Clinic right now. How to make spares. This is...
Not 6 this time. This time, 8. And a chance for his 5th mark in a row.
He's got to take the wood. He doesn't want a chance capping that wood.
Got it.
5 in a row.
And 7 marks in the match for Peter. Neil Gosselin has 6. If he doesn't put one up in these 2, he may lose most of his lead. But he's got to leave here the 3 and the 5, although he may have some concern about that wood.
Yeah, it's out a little further. He's going to keep right on the red line. There you go.
Even higher and covers it. After a pretty quiet opening game, things have heated considerably here in Game 2.
I can't keep these 2 guys in check very long without them breaking out. And then, of course, Peter's working hard at his. He's taking up some great spares. Seems to be the magic number on spares right now, is 6. Had 1, 2 by Neil Gosselin and 3 by Peter Flynn.
Almost. Didn't carry the 10-pin.
Neil almost pulls one off out of his bag of tricks. Not quite with a 10-pin. And that'll be 9.
Well, Neil's still in the lead, but it'll be in the single digits by the time Peter Flynn fills this mark. Most likely.
Working on a string of 5 consecutive spares.
Boy, it looked better than that. 7. And let's see now, the 5, 8, and 10.
Goes real low in the wood to cover the 8-pin. He's real high. No.
No.
Not low enough. $100 in the 7th. As the
string of 5 marks in a row ends. Neil Gosselin's lead is down to 6. And another spare leave for Peter Flynn.
And that being the 2 and the 5. Wood behind the 2. Another piece just a little inside the 2 and the 5. Got to have the 2 pin.
Book it. Mark number 8 for Peter Flynn.
I like that. Book it. All right.
No, Neil Gosselin again crossing over to that Brooklyn side, which he does often.
But he's nice and tight when he does it. It's the shade off of being full in the head pin. Just 3/4 to the left side of the head pin. And it's a good 9-pin drop and covers the 5-pin for another spare. Trying to hold on to the lead. Leads by 6. Peter Flynn already has a spare posted in the 8th. Crossing over again, nice and tight this time.
Same ball.
5-pin. Now the front piece of wood is going to come in contact with the other 2 before it hits the 5. You got to watch for that. That's enough to carry it. 2 in a row. Lead is 15.
And that's 9 marks for Neil Gosselin, all spares. 211, a high single, Peter Flynn. I would have liked to have seen that. This is on a spare. The fill is 7.
And a makeable spare. Not an easy one, but he's got wood angled toward the 10-pin to the left of the 2-pin. And no, didn't catch enough of the wood.
And the 10. 127 through 9. You see, Neil Gosselin had that 9-pin lead coming into this game. Peter crosses over into what is him, for him, the Brooklyn pocket, the 1-3 pocket, and oh, that's gonna go! I think we both thought that was going to hit the 8-pin, but it didn't. You know what I think happened, Dan? I think the 4-pin moved off the spot first, and when it fell over, it didn't reach the 8-pin.
Very close.
Spare in the 10th. That's mark number 9 for Peter. 137 plus a ball. Nice recovery from a 108 opener. And the fill is 9, as Peter will leave a 5-pin standing. 146. 254 through 2.
Neil Gosselin already at 116 through 8, working on a spare. That 146 is still in reach for him.
He's on the head pin again, and he carries the extra pin. That's an important pin on this shot.
Three, 6-10 left for Neil, trying to make it 3 in a row and 7 spares this game, and he does.
Oh, yes. Neil's left only 1 pin standing in this game. That was a 9 box in the 6th.
It's 7 spares for each bowler. This string.
Pretty good shooting. And it continues.
He's already beat the 146, so he's going to increase his lead. Certainly would like to pick this one up. Oh!
No. He's at 150 right now. And it will be a 151 for Neil Gosselin. A 2-game total of 268, and we get a dandy one going right now. A 14-pin lead for Neil Gosselin over Peter Flynn, and we'll be back with more in a minute. Now the big hand for both bowlers as we start this 3rd game. Neil Gosselin to start.
4-7 on the left, 6-10 on the right.
This is the smallest lead that Neil has had going into a third game during the tournament. Oh, how about that for a 10?
Wow.
That's worth another look.
Neil says, I can show you a few shots, too. Watch this one. 6-pin, 7-pin off the wall. 4-pin, I should say. 7-pin, then 6-10. That's a great shot.
Neil back on the head pin. This time he does not carry that 9th pin, and he'll have to deal with the 5 and 10. Or rather, the 8 and 10. Sorry. It's even worse.
But the wood's going to make it a little easier for him. He's got a makeable spare. Red line, a little left to the red line. Got a good ooh, he's going right.
Oh, my. Neil can't believe it. He's not missed by much when that wood went by.
No. I would have tried left. I don't know. I probably would have ended up with neither one of them, but it's a pair of 10s.
Let's see what happened here. Off the wall and in front. So Peter Flynn has 2 open frames to work against.
And he trails by about 2 marks.
And he almost got one on the first ball.
He's got a clear shot at the 7, but all that wood is good. It rolled against the 7-pin. Let's see what he decides to do. Yep, I'll use it. Don't blame him.
And that is mark number 10 for Peter Flynn, each bowler with 10. He's had only 1 strike in this match. That was for Peter earlier, the first game. 7 drop.
3-7-10 left for Peter, and a piece of wood in front of the 10, also one just to the left of the 3-pin.
Well, this is certainly one of those shots that Peter could make. Let's see. Oh, short.
I say he's 2 marks behind. We'll see what he does when he comes up to fill that mark. But you see another terrific spare off the ball of Peter Flynn. Make it 2 in a row this game, and trails by 7, but he'll have a chance to close that when he fills the second spare.
No, big first ball, and there's Neil Gosselin's first strike of the day.
How many times has it happened in the last several weeks? Last 2 weeks anyways, prior to this week, when someone gets a couple marks against him, he comes back with 1 or 2 of his own. This time it was a strike. Let's see what happens. 4 horsemen plus the 9. Piece of wood settles in against the 9-pin.
For the spare?
Ooh,
No.
Just missed the head pin to the left.
.47 through 4 for Neil.
7 drop in the spare, and we're all even after 22 boxes.
Oh, he takes the lead with a strike. Answering Neil Gosselin's strike in the 3rd. What a match. This time through the center.
Neil had 8 on his strike.
Peter skipped that one a little bit on the lane. Lost his angle on the shot. Tell you what, this thing is going to be about dead even going to the final 6 boxes. It's a 7 for Peter. 60 through 4, and Neil Gosselin's lead is down to 1 pin with 6 boxes to go. This is week 3 of the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. We'll be back. And
then there were 6 frames remaining. winner to move on against Rico Petrocelli. Yeah, Rico Petrocelli. I knew I was going to say that. When he was on, I kept catching myself. One of my favorite ball players.
It was great until then, Dan.
Yeah, it was. Rico Baldinelli. Oh, one Italian, another Italian. All the same.
Ooh, ooh.
Good athletes. What do you mean?
That mail should be addressed to Dan Murphy. A spare in the fifth for Neil Gosselin after the 9 drop. Remember, Neil will be posting his score first in the third game. Each bowler with 12 marks. And it'll be a 7 drop. Neil will look at the triangle, but let's see about the wood. Troublesome.
Yeah, it's going to have to be up to the right of the red line and turn it ever so slightly, but then drive the piece of wood back into the 4, 7, 8. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Neil liked that one a lot. He was pumped up with that shot.
He's pretty tough. Pretty tough. In the clutch here, knows he needs a couple marks to put a little more pressure on Peter Flynn. Not that pressure bothers Peter, but half Worcester right for Peter.
Almost.
This will push his lead up to 9. And he still has a mark working. He being, of course, Neil Gosselin.
Ooh, Peter misses the head pin twice in a row. Don't see that very often. Well, this will look great if it goes. The 1, 4, 7, 9, and 10 with no playable wood.
It'll be a great shot, but it won't surprise me. He's made some great shots already today, but he does not make that one, and he's going to fall further behind. The lead now will be in double figures, and Neil Gosselin will fill that spare.
Gets the 2. So right now, Neil steps up, leading by 10 plus this first ball. This is a critical fill ball right here with 4 boxes to go. Will it be 5 or 6? It'll be 5.
4 horsemen left, plus the 9 pin in the back. Piece of wood next to the 9.
Looked good at the start. The lead is 15. But perhaps more importantly, Neil is open in the 7th.
He's going to need another one. Trails leads by 15, but I think he's going to need at least another mark. There it is.
Oh, yes, sir.
There it is. Big strike off the ball to Neil Gosselin in the 8th. Shaking his head to his fans, yes. He knew that was a big one.
If anybody can come back in this situation, it's Peter Flynn, and will it go? The 6 pin will stay up somehow. Big mark in the 7th.
With this fill, it'll reduce the lead down into single figures again. However, he's opposite a strike.
Oh, what a ball.
10 pin to get out of there. And now the 4 pin goes. It's a 9 pin drop. The lead now is 5.
But
Actually, 4.
This is the big shot right here.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Tough shot for the left-hander. 2 big spares for Peter Flynn, and we are down to the final 2.
It is 5 pins.
5 pins the difference. Of course, that doesn't include the fills on these marks. Neil working on a strike, Peter on a spare. Oh, big 9.
A big double strike 2 weeks ago against Bob Mazur, and that was almost another one. He wants that wood to stop. You can see him motioning at the stop. He wants a clear shot at the 7, and not only does he have a clear shot, he's on a nice guide to the right. If he were to miss it to the right a little bit, he'll still carry it off the wood.
He's got it. Clutch bowling by both men here. 15 marks for Neil Gosselin, 14 for Peter Flynn.
It's not out of the woods. He can't make a mistake on this mark and leave the door open for Peter. Looks good.
An 8 fill.
This is a huge mark.
That ball put him over 400. The question is it enough?
This mark will make Peter Flynn throw a couple strikes, I believe.
Oh, no.
He's going to get it? No. Look at it rock.
Oh,
my.
Well, Neil's still watching it, but it's going to stay up. And the 10, 136 and a 404 for Neil Gosselin. Peter Flynn needs to roll a 150 to tie it, a 151 to win. He is working on a mark, remember.
It's a mark out. They got to be big ones.
7. That gives him 114 in the 8th. So for 150, he needs 36 pins, which means he's got to have 2 marks.
Outside.
There's 1. What a finish. Each bowler now with 15 marks. Peter needs a fill, sizable fill, and then another mark to have a chance.
At least 6 on this ball. Keep himself alive.
Oh, yes! Oh, my! Oh. What a throw that was for Peter Flynn. Neil Gosselin is applauding in the background. Strike on spare.
Needs 6 to tie. No, 6 to win.
That won it. 6, right. 6 to tie.
6 to tie, 7 to win.
6 to tie, 7 to win on the strike. I was adding it up already before he bowled it.
No, needs another pin. We're tied. What a finish. My, another week. You hate to see either one lose. And there's your win.
There it is, and he made the shot. Oh, my word. That's what I was kind of adding up. I had added the 20 before he even made the shot. I guess I knew something. What a terrific finish. 408 for Peter Flynn. He wins it with 4, make it 5 straight marks to end the match. There's a look at that final shot. It'll be Peter Flynn against Rico Baldinelli in next week's semifinals. We'll be back to talk to both bowlers and the bonus ball contest in a minute. Welcome back to Park Place Lanes. Week 3 of our singles tournament of champions is in the books, and what a terrific match it was. And let's talk first to, well, let's give him a second to just kind of think about everything that's happened, because it's been a tough day for Neil Gosselin, who put together 2 terrific matches, and this time came up just 4 pins short. Obviously, we mentioned during the course of the match that, you know, bowling first, you have to post the score, and then there's just nothing you can do. And when you got a guy like Peter up there, who knows?
He finished well. What a great finish he had. I don't know. I needed that one last mark in the last box, and it just didn't fall. I thought it was going, and then it stood up.
It was one of those matches, really, for both of you, where it was 1 pin rocking here and there. It seemed like one of those matches. After kind of a slow start, it got a lot interesting there toward the end.
Yeah, Peter was just talking about that. He said it was like 300 to 287 the last 2, so it was very interesting the last 2.
Again, Neil, congratulations on the 2 wins. 4th prize check is for $300. Our congratulations as well. You had a couple of great runs on the show this year. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and I hope to be back next year.
All right, Neil, thanks very much. And now it's time for Peter Flynn to roll his bonus ball for us. Oh, he's calling it now. He's like Babe Ruth. He's trying to call the shot here. We've got $40 in the jackpot, and, of course, brand new bowling balls on the line. And look out, it's going to be a 9-drop.
I think 7.
Dan's been pretty good with his predictions. Up 8, that last pin. That last pin prevented a match. Christy Cody from Dover, New Hampshire. Christy, Christy, you'll be receiving a consolation gift from us and from the NHCBA, and What can I say? A terrific finish. Just another whole Hummer, right?
Yeah, what a heck of a match that was. Ooh, we started out a little slow, but it got going, that's for sure.
Now, obviously, you knew exactly what you had to do in that last 2 boxes. Were you thinking strike on that last box? I mean, you knew you had to have a big fill. Obviously.
Yeah, I was thinking that before I threw the ball. You know, when you need a mark with 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that, you don't want to take a chance with one ball. You'd rather have naturally. You'd rather have the strike, and I just want to stick that first one in there big time.
And then just for good measure, you figured you'd make that last shot anyway.
Yeah, I was trying to play it safe way over to the right, and it skipped it off the foul line. They made the shot. I was like, talk about accidental offense. That was it.
Well, 1 win under your belt, and now next week the semifinals, and a guy who's really only been with us 1 time before, but he was very impressive when he was here. Rico Baldinelli will be your opponent.
Yeah, and he beat my partner.
Which one?
Oh, Bobby Kelly, my normal partner.
Well, again,
normal though.
Congratulations on the win, Pete. We'll be looking forward to next week. Thanks very much. Peter Flynn. And let's spin you over to the ladder because we're down to our final 3 bowlers now. And it's the top 3, as it turns out. Peter Flynn, our number 3 seed, next week in the semifinals against Rico Baldinelli, our number 2 seed. And the winner of that one, 2 weeks from today, faces Paul Berger.
Well, it's going to be tough to top this show, but Rico, like you said, bowled well was a couple weeks ago, and he's got a tough opponent.
All right, now Peter with the dramatic win here. Stay tuned because Peter with his doubles partner Chuck Godzik will be going for their 3rd win in a row in the doubles tournament of champions. That comes up immediately following here in just a few minutes. Chuck and Peter will take on Bill Hart and Mark Arnold. And don't forget to join us next week starting at 12 noon. That'll be semifinal week on both of the Stars and Strikes Tournament of Champions. Until then, don't forget to stay tuned for Stars and Strikes doubles. For Dan Murphy and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown. We'll see you in a few minutes.